All right, Jeremy here, Jeeps Unlimited, partsbreakers.com, 303-666-9020. I'm going to do a pre-dismantle video. These things come apart pretty quick. Already had a number of people reach out on the tub and the frame and whatnot, so I don't like selling them without somebody at least seeing them, and then we'll lock somebody in. And then we'll do the full dismantle as usual. Been doing this way for 22 years, always worked out well. And then we always do a final video to show you exactly, because obviously with pre-dismantle things are still bolted together, so it's a little hard to see everything. But we'll get a pretty good idea here. And I've already looked at this pretty closely. I haven't had it on a lift myself, but it's so this will make it even easier. I was kind of on the ground when I first did it. So all right. So again, this is kind of more or less for the frame and the tub here. And I mean, other things as well. This is going to have an 03 to 04 gas tank, which is hard to get. This has got a nice skid on it, a little oxidation, but there's no rot on these. That's the nice thing about our stuff. Oh, my wife thought it had a 35. It actually has a 44 in it. So I'll have to tell her that. So it is got a Dana 44, which is awesome. It's actually got a Dana 44 with disc brakes, which is awesome. So that's cool, because that's actually, especially the disc brakes, that's kind of hard to find. So this frame looks awesome. It's got, it needs to be washed and stuff, but I scoped what I could. We obviously run a scope back through it once it's fully tore down here. But other than just paint coming off of it, most of the paint that's on this, all this black, is still factory paint. So it's pretty crazy how good shape these things are in. The skid looks great. NV3550, I drove this Jeep, so that all shifted great. Engine runs good, although this engine is spoken for. And then the big thing here, other than the frame, which you can obviously see what you got now, this looks excellent. This should be a grade A frame. Non-wrecked, we don't buy any wrecks, or we try not to. I mean, every once in a while we do, but we don't part them out for the frames and tubs usually. They're usually more from locals that come in, and then we'll buy them. But the big thing is these torque pockets. So I always count them off when the tub is fully loose, and obviously we can't do that now, but there is a total of 10, and if you consider the front one 11, obviously the front being on the front clip, which isn't part of the tub, so that's usually what we just focus on. So I'll show you where they are the best I can. Again, they're a little hard to see where we're at, but we're at 1, and then we'll obviously see this entirely once we get the frame the tub off of the frame. 2, and then the way I always look at these when I'm looking at them, this is a really hard thing, because obviously if this torque pocket is starting to collapse or crack, you're not gonna be able to see it right now. So again, this is pre-dismantle. We'll lock it in if we think. But the telltale signs is usually you can see around the edges here. I run my scope to make sure there's nothing on the inside of it, which obviously is a big thing, and you can get access here, and then there's other access points. But then the other thing is, if you don't have any of that stuff and you're looking, it's along the sides oftentimes, and for whatever reason, it's always these middle ones. You can see how beautiful that torque pocket is on both sides. So there's nothing indicating at all that this one's gonna have any bit of issues with this. So we got 1, 2, and then 3. And again, nice clean up through here. All right, and then this one's gonna be hard to see because it sits above the fuel tank. And it's that one there, so you can see the bottom of it. The frame is excellent. That one is completely, almost, I don't think we can get it in all. Get you up here maybe. So not great, but again, I mean, great as far as should be great shape, but can't really see it at all with this angle. So that's your 4th one on your passenger side, and then your 5th one is all the way back to this corner. This lift is quite not tall enough for me. And then you have your rear torque box, which is a straight box in area. It goes all the way across to the other side. So we got 5 here. And again, there's nothing bleeding through the tub. The corners are in excellent shape. I mean, there's almost always a ding on a tub somewhere, So to have a tub come in with nothing is, is hard to find. I mean, it's very, very difficult. That corner is beautiful. And then we got 6 here. And then of course 7, which I'm not even gonna try again because it's this top one up here. And then we have 8. Again, beautiful. 9. Again, beautiful. Nothing indicating anything there. And then 10. So, again, what we always do is we price them. We've had a set pricing for the last 10 years. I mean, literally, everybody else has been raising prices because of this and that. And I know there's reasons for it, but we haven't done that yet. We're talking about doing that first part of the year, finally. Just because they're getting exceptionally difficult to find, especially clean ones. So likely these will go up about $500. And then we'll run that way for as long as we can until they get even harder. And then as everything does in life, increases. But so on this particular one, I've kind of went over a few things. You got the rear axle that's going to be available, front axle. These are 373s, Dana 30 here, Dana 44 disc in the rear. 4-liter engine that's already sold. We do have the wiring harness ECM. They'll be available. MD3550 manual 5-speed transmission. I do have some 42 REs automatics out there that we've pulled recently in case you need one of those. MP231 transfer case. That's just your standard transfer case in all the non-Rubicon TJs from 97 to 06. And they did make a difference. The 4 cylinders are 21 spline. Your 6 cylinders are 23 spline. So that takes care of your drivetrain for the most part. And then, of course, the fenders are going to be available. The grille is available. I don't know where it ended up, but somewhere floating around here, and that was all in great shape. The hood, and again, once again, the hood is one of those items that most of the time when we get them in, they're messed up. So this one, for all intents and purposes, looked clean. I don't think I've seen any damage on it, but I'll look at it a little closer. And then we'll have a cowl for the top. And Jerry, I'll go ahead and let you lower this when you get a chance. So we'll have the cowl on it. The windshield frame, I think, is spoken for, but I'm not 100% on that. But I might have another 0306, so we can get that. And then your tailgate is your vintage style. That's going to be an 0306 style. If you need the late stuff, okay. Hinges will be available. Hard tops, got a beautiful hard top. The khaki color. This is the khaki color Jeep. Like the jets are flying over again today. Fly over every day. It's pretty cool. Anyway, and then your doors. These doors are available as of right now. They're in good shape. No rust, no cracking. Not at least on the outside. The inside's always split. They always do this. So panels, they're on both sides. And this is pretty hard to get away from. Unfortunately, it's a weak spot where it flexes. So, but otherwise, it's a beautiful door panel. It's had seat covers on it, so I think the seats, maybe we'll look out and get some good seats out of it. It does have the factory rear seat, full split console. It's got, this is really hard to find, in really good shape, so hopefully the guys can keep that clean, because that's got all the padding underneath it, and a nice, that khaki color, super hard to find on these things. Full dash, you know, airbags, bezels, vents. I mean, all this stuff comes literally down to the nuts and bolts is how we do this, and have been doing this for pretty much the longest out there. I mean, most of the old guys that were around with Mile High and any other big yards have gone under, retired, whatnot. Jeeps Unlimited is one of the few out there that's been around since '84, and then I took over in '14, and then I ran it. I had a little shop before that, so total for me has been about 22 years. This has got some kind of shag carpet they put in this one. It's just kind of funny to me. My guess is somebody pulled the carpet at one time, and then when somebody took over ownership, they wanted some insulation, and they just went to the hardware store, because nothing fancy about this stuff. It's warm, it's plush, and I might have a full carpet kit out of another one. So yeah, lots of stuff. The struts work, which is usually not the case. So this has got hard top with working struts on it, and wiper, of course. If your Jeep didn't come with a hard top, it won't have the plug for it. It's a pretty small area. In my opinion, you don't need the wiper and defrost and all that. But if you want it, by all means, we can sell you the kit to convert it, which is basically this guy back here. It's a crossbody harness that runs up. You do need a portion of the dash harness to do that. It is fairly involved because you got to pop that dash if you're going to do this properly with the hard top. But we sell that stuff, like I said. You know, some people do want it all factory. I get it. I'm more of a original purist myself. but this is a fairly big job to do. So unless the shop's doing it or you're comfortable with pulling a dash, and you know, it's not a difficult job. It just takes some time to do. But anyway, so we got the guards on, the lights. This is the accessory stuff that we don't really do much, the Nerf bars, that kind of stuff there. But as far as the overall Jeep, this is a beautiful Jeep that will be a great part out for us. And yeah, only 03 to 06 tub I have, and it was a hard one to come up with all of a sudden, and it kind of flip-flops, it seems like. But the more years go by, the more difficult, just in general, the TJs and YJs have been getting to find tubs on. So got some nice squeaks on that one. This tire, this has got a ding on that tailgate a little bit, so that'll get discounted down. Still clean, no rust, but it definitely, this tire's probably just a little bit big for it. So I'm gonna, Jerry, I'm good, buddy. I'll close the door up. We're good on this thing. I'll give you a quick little overview on stuff we've got in, since I haven't done a yard video in a while. I try to do these at least once a month. Just a lot of projects going on, so and haven't got it started on our CJ still yet, the orange one up there, but hopefully here within the next month. Hopefully this guy's gonna be done. This is a CJ5 that was shipped to us from LA. This was a full frame off. We did a lot to that thing. I'm not gonna go into all that right now, but it's just about ready to get the motor fired up and broke in, and then hopefully we'll have that thing delivered here in the next couple weeks. That'd be awesome. Let's see. We don't do a lot of these WKs. We like the Grand Cherokees and the early stuff. I don't do too much of the later ones. We get them every once in a while. That one's actually got a good motor. It's a 4.7. This little Wrangler here, this little YJ, this is a nice little Jeep. Pretty clean. This should make a good, nice clean tub on that guy. Let's see. I guess this one came in recently. I'm trying to think where we got this one from. Oh, I know where this one came from. This came from Josh's. So yeah, that's an okay one. It's kind of that was an old ice racer. That Grand Cherokee is going to be available here for sale here soon. We're just kind of doing the final touches on it. It was this is a rare one. This is the 9859. They only did that 1 year. It's a limited, and pretty clean. That came from the original owner. So it was towed behind the RV, so doesn't have very many miles on the Jeep itself. It has a few on the odometer, but not just because it was a bumper towed behind. But I gotta pee like a racehorse right now. Oh, thank God they made a pause button on these things. Otherwise, I would have had to cut that short. Anyway, this is a nice little TJ just came in. This will be a nice tub for somebody. This is an earlier tub, and yes, you can use them on the late. I have a video. They did change some things though, so you got to be kind of okay with that going into it. It's all bolts on the exact same way, and I'm not going to go into too much of it, but the firewall changes slightly for a heater box. So there's a little bit of a modification there that we can either make or you can make. So yeah, this will have nice tub. This should be a nice rust-free tub. Engine still available in this one. Axles, frame. Frame. Let me think. Yeah, this frame is available. We did sell one of these, but it's already pulled. Matter of fact, Kevin just stripped that thing. I think it's sitting over there. Okay, so this is our yard, 7 acres, rust-free. Why are we rust-free? Well, because Colorado doesn't use salt. So unless you buy something from somebody that moved here from somewhere that did use salt, most of the Jeeps here or vehicles here don't rust out, which is awesome. So I would say 90% of everything we get in doesn't have a spot of rot on it. And the 10% is really just these old CJs. Sometimes will have a little rust on them. It's a little hard to get around of just because they didn't really make them the way the new ones are. So a lot of times you'll get little spots on them like that. But by and large, that's still a nice clean tub. I mean, it's got a spot on it there, but okay. This is an old guy. Pretty much completely just met. This only had 29,000 miles on it. It was a university Jeep and ran like a top. I mean, it had the weirdest stuff all over it. You could tell they had funding to kill every year. You know, kind of that old use it or lose it kind of thing. And they just had the funniest things on it. I mean, more lights and buttons and gadgets. And it had like these these mileage gauges. I showed you your fuel mileage, but it had like 7 of them. And then all the tipometers or whatever they show you had like 6 of those things. You could, like I said, I could tell somebody had a budget they were trying to. So this is a nice little YJ we got in. This was a burned one. And a lot of times fire ones are okay. They just can't be fried. Obviously it's not ultimately fried. The interior's still nice on it. It was an automatic. May get a good engine out of that one. We'll have to do that one. That was where the fire started, battery. So it's hard to say. That one will have to be completely stripped down and then put back together and then fired up. And then that's the only way we'll sell a motor. So that's got a nice hard top with a rack, some lights on it. It's pretty cool. And then again, that'll be a nice YJ tub. So we'll have that one as a Sahara, and then that one just has a regular one there. And really the only difference between these guys is these bolt holes down here are for the bottom flares that go there. So and then there's one more that I think the guys must have completely dismantled last week. It came in like 4 days ago, so I think that's the one that's pretty much. We got a tub here. I'm trying to think what else came in. There's an LJ out here that came in a while back that we've sold some parts on. Still have some others on it though. I'll give you a little. This yard is a mess right now, so apologize, but we're moving everything over to the right so we can put up a big building on the left and then move everything back. And even being in my own yard, this has been a year-long project that we haven't got a ton of headway just because the yard keeps us so busy. First and foremost, we take care of the customers and then do our stuff later. So that's why you see all these pallets that are just moshed with every part under the sun. All these were racked in Connex containers, and now they're all sitting out here. The electronics are still inside. I don't like to put our harnesses or ECMs or anything like that out here, but anything that isn't necessarily going to be harmed by weather just got put on a pallet. And axles, these were all on there. There's probably about 300 axles in this yard. All of them have gone through. I know a lot of yards out there when they sell an axle, they don't even pop the cover. It always blows my mind that they do that because they're so easy to get, bad pinion bearings or carrier bearings, you name it. So this is that LJ. So some of this has come apart. There's definitely some pieces left. There's a nice tub on that guy, nice frame. We actually have 2 LJ frames right now. I think that set of doors is sold, but I'm not 100% on that. It's got a little bit of, like they hit like a tree or something up here and just kind of racked this. That's about the extent of something I'll buy if it's damaged here. I go after the tubs and frames, so we don't want them to be wrecked. So we want them to be squared up. And we still measure and scope everything just in case, because you never know. I mean, a body shop's ever seen. Let's close that door. This is a difference between myself and my guys. They'll walk around the yard and let these doors open. The wind will grab them and damage them, so I make sure they're all closed. I have a nice set of green. Well, actually, these aren't great. These are green set of doors here. They're functional. Well, they're not too bad. Not the cleanest doors you've ever had, but not the worst either. And then I think we still have a gray pair here. This thing's got a set of power window conversion on it, which can be put back to factory. This only had 60,000 miles on it. The tags. This is another one that was tagged kind of up in here. This fender area. This is a perfect example. Like most yards would say, okay, high hit, frame's going to be fine, which is possible. I mean, this frame still could be fine, but you got to measure these things. We actually have a jig we put them in that basically squares them up to make sure they're straight. And the non-straight ones, I mean, there's obviously some tolerance there, but if it comes out to be bent, they still get used. They just don't get used in the way we normally sell them. You can see that one was high hit, but it bent the C-guss is possible. That tire's, and again, I can't tell you how many times we go into a big yard and ask them about frames or tubs, and they're like, oh yeah, we have a stack of them over here. Are they straight? Well, we don't know. And then we get them out, measure them, and not one of them is straight. So it's important to do that stuff. You know, you're going to be doing, this is a big project to do a frame off. I mean, you can do it in a weekend, but it's a fairly big job. And the last thing you want to do is get to the end and go, why is my Jeep tracking weird down the road? Or, you know, or even worse, and well, maybe not worse, but close to the same is having, finding out there's rust inside of something you didn't see. So scoping them, measuring them, that's all part of that process. The tubs in themselves are pretty self-explanatory. I mean, you know, it's either rusty or it isn't. It's either damaged or it isn't. But the frames can definitely be a little bit more misleading for people. And, you know, I know there's some options out there to buy aftermarket frames. And by all means, that's a great option. I can't even beat up on that because honestly, it's, I'm not always going to be able to have a frame out here, you know. And if people can't get a hold of some of these things, they'll stop rebuilding them. So I appreciate them for what they are, but I would say that a good factory frame is still your better bet if you can get a hold of a good clean one, only because you can tell the difference on an aftermarket one. They look good, but they look different. You know, for the purists out there, like this yard really is, OEM and whatnot, you know, we like our stuff to be as it came from the factory in every way, shape, or form. Even if it's, you know, some things people go, well, the suspension is janky, so you got to upgrade that. But, you know, it's not always the case. Sometimes these guys that, you know, engineer these things, they did a pretty good job. So this is that other frame. This one's sold already, but look how clean this thing is, just to give you an idea. This is that one that just tore down. I mean, this hasn't been doctored at all, guys. This is all this black paint that you see on this thing. It's all original paint from 30 years ago. I mean, this is an absolutely just gorgeous frame. And this is how we like to represent all our frames. I wish they were all, I mean, this one is just, man, I mean, look at that thing. I wish they were all this beautiful. They're all pretty beautiful. This one is just, this is got to be one of the cleanest ones. But like I said, this one is spoken for already. It's going to New York, so. All right. Anything else? I think that's it. 22 minutes of your life. Appreciate you hanging out, watching these. I got to get back to work, get some books, get our taxes caught up. We only got till the 15th. Get these year's taxes in. We got that extension done, but that time, it always comes right up on us, and we're going, crap, we need another one, another extension. So it's not really how it works, so we'll go ahead and get those done. But again, Jeremy here, Jeeps Unlimited, partsbreakers.com, 303-666-9020. Anything else you can think of, let us know. This is only the bottom lot. The upper lot, we actually have two upper lots. We have our upper lot where we keep all our tubs and frames once they're washed, listed, ready to ship. They get put into that upper area. And then a lot of our Jeeps that haven't been dismantled get put in our other lot, and as well as our customer vehicles. So we do, because we do a fair amount of service work as well. So, all right, thanks everybody. Have a great day. It's I think it's the 7th or the 8th today of October 2025. I always like to postmark our videos, so people watch these things 10, 15 years down the road and will mention, hey, you got that black tub? And I'm like, from 2007? Nope, sorry. Had a few since then, but I do like to put the date out there. So, all right, thank you so much again.